Welcome to the season one of Progressive Rock Community, and I'm very happy to have you here. Let me start the questions first. My first question is tell me about the story of your band name in brief, please.
Okay, yeah, sure. I try to keep it short. Uh, we were trying to come up with a name that could best represent our ideas, our philosophy of the music we play, and the system that we compose. And a friend of mine who studies archaic languages, he helped us to come up with the name Enso, which my friend Houman can explain
He didn't come
exactly.
up with it. He stumbled upon it.
Yeah, I stumbled
okay.
upon it.
It's not his
Yeah.
invention.
Well, I guess it goes back to like 5 years ago when I and Mohamad started to play some very little phrases and compositions. Then we all joined together little by little, and then we had this problem like any other band that we couldn't come up with a good name. So we asked one of our friends, and he helped us with the name. And the name briefly means the imperfection of human beings, which inside our music kind of represents itself. I mean that this very particular symbol or emblem indicates the moment which the body tries to create something because of the concentration and like the spontaneity inside the music that we have. And other than that, we've got the polyrhythmic perspective of our music, which kind of is related to Enso as well. And I guess that's all.
All right. So, is it possible for you, Houman? What did make you become the person you are today?
Okay. So I guess all of us had this interest towards music the very beginning, and hopefully we could come together as a band. And what we wanted to do was introducing a new, maybe a new color in the music of the scene of Iran, and I guess that's my view, at least. But I don't know about the other.
Okay. Can you explain, Sina?
Yeah, my story. Okay.
Yeah.
First, I started playing the drums. I had this idea of touring in Europe.
Mhm.
I had very big ideas back then, and then just 1 year later, they all just were sabotaged, and then I was like, okay, I just play music for fun for now and for the rest of my life, and then it start happening. Then I start to do workshops with different drummers from Europe. Then I start playing music with people, and then after some years, I ended up playing in Enso,
Oh, that's very good.
which is a happy ending
Yeah.
by any means.
We are in the digital world. Do you prefer to listen to your favorite music as a hard copy, or you want to listen on Spotify? Which one do you prefer?
I personally prefer to listen to it on Spotify and also stream it when it's possible. But that's not an easy thing to do in Iran because of the sanctions and the filterings and so on. But the hard copy aspect of it comes into play when I want to support the artists. Yeah, but I don't. It's not easy to find a device that you can use to listen to the CD or to the vinyl.
Mhm.
Yeah, and because of that, yeah, I prefer to listen to it as far as and I as far as I'm concerned, the streaming helps the artists as well
Mhm.
for them to get recognized more.
That's great. What about you, Human?
Like listening to high quality music is a luxury without a doubt. But I have to say sometimes, just like Kiarash said, we don't have that opportunity to listen to like vinyl all the time. So Spotify is the most convenient way to listen to music. But if I have the luxury, sure, I would listen to CDs or maybe vinyl. Yeah.
That's good. What about you, Mohammed?
On Spotify because it's easier.
Okay. Uh, if you could change anything about the industry, what would it be?
I don't think there should be any changes. Yeah, surprisingly,
How so?
because I think music or art in general is the reflection of how people are doing at this very age, at this very moment, and we shouldn't care about changing this because as people go on, they're gonna change, and changes will happen to them, and then there will be changes in music as well. I mean, just look at music history. We started 1950s, and we had like jazz music, and now we have electronic music. We have improvised music, which explains how it all changed, and came to this. So basically, I don't think there should be any changes that I want to see and want to make.
All right. Do
But,
you-
in my opinion, there are changes that I want to see, but the beauty of it is that in music business, you do your work. You could do your work completely independent, and you could produce your music yourself, or you'll meet people, like-minded people that have the qualities that you admire, or you can live with. And because of that, the change isn't as necessary as it may seem. But it's for a fact there are some aspects that need to be changed. For example, the many artists in this business are not pursuing music for the sake of music. They're doing so in order to get money or to get views, which are not some of the best qualities that musicians could have.
Oh,
But
okay.
the beauty of it is still, even though all these exist, you could do your own thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you explain about it, Houman?
All right. Well, regarding the change that you mentioned earlier, I've got to say that it's very difficult to change an industry because we're only one band, and it's just a drop in the ocean. However, I would like people to listen to more like independent artists, and in this way they can like raise the awareness among other people so that they could listen to us, and that's the only thing I can think of right now.
Oh, okay. So, who are you inspired by in
Oh.
music?
Very difficult question. Very many artists.
Just maybe you can explain about three of them.
Hmm.
As a person or as a band?
Yeah.
Everything.
Okay. So if I have to talk about the three artists, I would go for like Andy Othling, who is an ambient guitar player who I guess has had the most influence on me. Other than that, there's Philip Glass, which I used to listen to when I was a teenager. And the last one would be Steven Wilson, which I grew up with. Yeah.
Oh, that's very good. What about you guys?
David Bowie, yeah, and Peter Gabriel, and Donny McCaslin. Donny McCaslin is a saxophonist from New York, and the last Bowie album, Black Star, was actually composed and played by Donny McCaslin Group.
That's great.
Thank you, Kiarash.
Yeah. As a band, I could say that we're most inspired by the Swiss music scene, mainly by Don Lee and Nick Birch. But as a person, our influences are quite different, and that's the special sauce that has banded us together. As artists, I'm quite fascinated by. There's a solo bassist in Los Angeles, I think, named Yannick Gwizdala. And bands and progressive rock, progressive metal bands such as Haken from England, and also Opeth, Stephen Wilson, Gavin Harrison as an artist, as a single artist, and so on. Yeah, there are many to name.
Oh, okay. What about you, Mohamad?
For me, the Trillo Gorto, the Andy Pupato, and the Gavin Harrison, and Paquito Gonzalez.
That's very good. What, Sina? What are the essential qualities that a good musician should have?
Chops.
No,
They should have definitely chops.
but they're not essential.
Yeah, they're not essentials. Yeah. Listening. A good musician, I mean, any musician's best tool is just being able to listen and to hear nuances, to hear what's happening in the music, and to detect what decision he or she has to make.
What about you, Houman?
Essential qualities. Being a good listener, I guess, strikes me as the first and the most important one. And on top of that, I guess we can say being spontaneous, like just like Sina said, being able to make decisions. And third would be being humble and playing with other people peacefully.
In my opinion, the essential qualities of a musician have to be honesty and transparency, both in expression, in verbal expression, and also in musical expression. Yeah, because and also the team spirit,
Mhm.
because the music is a product of the teamwork at
Right.
the end of the day.
Yeah.
And yeah, these are the most important qualities one musician should have,
Oh,
in my
okay.
opinion.
So, your band released the debut album about a couple of months ago, and
Yeah.
congrats on that.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Congratulations. What kind of feedback have you received so far about that?
Virtually none whatsoever, because of the time frame, and because of the current situation in our country, and also because of the fact that our music as an independent artist and as a instrumental music group doesn't receive much attention. Apart from the musicians that listen to it, and they're not the best kind to give, they're not the best group to get feedback from. Yeah, that's what I think.
Okay, what about the others?
I've received very good feedbacks because I had people, my students, coming to me. Just we never could just imagine we could have this connection with this type of music, but when we got the CD, everything changed. So I was really surprised when I heard like people are digging the album, and I was like, man, wow, great. And my friends in Europe, my friends in US, yeah, they really liked the album, and I have received only positive feedbacks and non-negative.
Oh, that's very good.
Yeah, that's very good.
Okay.
So among my friends, I mostly got positive feedbacks on the music and how the story goes on. But outside our circle of friends, just like Kiarash said, because of not being timely, the release of the album, we couldn't get as much feedback as we hoped. But maybe in the future, who knows? Maybe we'll. Yeah, hopefully
That's good.
will be critically acclaimed.
I think whoever bought the CD, they already knew what's happening there, and that's why they like the stuff.
Oh, okay. So, is there any plan to add any more instruments, something like sax or piano, into your music?
I hope not.
So it's really difficult to be in a band of like more than 5 people because we have the experience of playing as a sextet, and then we kind of reduce it to 5 people. But I would really like to like have like features like with saxophone, maybe piano, even traditional instruments.
Maybe as a guest musician.
Yeah, I guess musician. Why not? Yeah, yeah. Even another drummer or maybe another bassist or guitar player, whatever.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
very good. If you could open for someone you love, who would it be?
Nick Birch. Because of the fact that the audience that listens to Nick Birch would dig our music also. That's the logical that's the logical explanation. We couldn't open for someone like Steven Wilson. Although the audience would appreciate the music, but they wouldn't be they wouldn't dig the music as much as someone who listens to minimal music.
I understand that.
After opening for Ronin, I would be happy to maybe open up for Kneebody, which is one of my favorite bands, with Nate Wood on the drums,
And cover Astigor on the bass.
oh, he left the band. Yeah. So Nate is playing both bass and the drums simultaneously at the same time. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
What about you guys?
Probably Nick Birch, Don Lee, or if we're lucky enough, Steven Wilson. I don't know. And yeah, that's it. That's all I have.
That means bigger venues.
Yeah, bigger venues. Yeah, the bigger the better.
What about you, Mohamad?
Bazabla or Nick Ronin.
Nick Ronnie.
Si.
Okay. What are the next plans? Is there any album coming out in the future, or any song, any shows?
Hopefully, shows definitely. We have to do more shows, and we already have materials to work on, and I think they suffice for the next album, if not the third, because we can just play and make materials very easily. I mean, is very is a luxury that we have to, as a band, to play together and play music at ease and come up with songs and compositions really easily. But then we have to rehearse and practice together as a band, and it may take a little bit of time, but we will never run out of material, at least for the next 2 years.
Yeah, just as Sina said, the method in which our music functions makes it easy for us to produce more music. But at the moment, no dates or no new tracks is set in stone.
Oh,
Yeah, but it's quite an easy way to make new music, and we also have some old material, old stuff that we have discarded for this album
Mhm.
that should be revised. Yeah, because at that time we were 6 people. We had a keyboard player also, but that has to be revised for now. Yeah.
All right.
Sina and Kiarash said everything, but I have to say we, because of the bond between us, at least when we are playing music, we can produce material quite easily, and I guess we've got the next album's material. I don't know about the third, but we've got to be a little bit patient so that we can go on.
All right. So let's talk about progressive rock and progressive metal.
Sure.
Specifically, and who's your favorite prog band or artist?
Okay.
Whatever, prog rock, prog metal,
rock,
modern prog.
Okay, sure. Growing up, I listened to Porcupine Tree, and I was a big fan of Steven Wilson, Houman too, and then yeah, Porcupine Tree would be the first one.
Mhm.
Devin Townsend,
Mhm.
and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay. What about the others?
There are quite a few to name, but most importantly, Haken from England, as I said earlier, and a band from, I think, Norway, if I'm not mistaken, called Leprous,
Mhm.
which are quite similar to Haken.
Yeah.
I mean the sound, not the music, the
And
approach.
especially
Yeah.
vocals.
Yeah, and especially vocals. But I dig the vocals more than Haken nowadays. And also Opeth, especially their new stuff, the more mellow stuff. And yeah, I think I could classify Ibrahim Malouf also as progressive music.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What-
And a new band called Polyphia from America, from USA, I think. Yeah.
What about you, Houman?
Just sorry, I forgot to name Periphery and Tesseract.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, those are two of my favorites.
Mine would be, I guess, new Australian solo artist called Pellini, if I'm
Mhm.
not mistaken. And going back in history, I would say like Gentle Giant, King Crimson,
Genesis.
yeah, Genesis, Electric Light Orchestra, and a little bit more modern ones would be like Porcupine Tree, Riverside, Catatonia, and moving on to very like complicated and complex music. I would say like maybe sometimes Animals as leaders, not always. Yeah, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
What about you, Mohamad?
Ibrahim Malouf and
Fish.
yes, Fish. And that's
Oh, okay. Which progressive rock and metal have you heard recently that you liked you liked a lot?
The latest Devin Townsend album.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was my most favorite so far.
Okay.
Mine is not very new, but I go with the Parallax by Between the Buried and Me. Yeah, that's what I like the most.
What about you, Kiarash?
Mine's also not quite new, but it's an album from Leprous, I think 2013, if I'm not wrong. It's called Congregants.
Okay.
Congregants, I think, yeah. That influenced me a lot.
Okay.
Changed my view. Yeah.
Lastly, which one of your song would you like to be played at the end of this interview?
Phrase 7 because
It's very long.
it's very long.
Yeah, and because it has everything. Phrase 7, for sure.
Phrase 7. All right.
Phrase 7.
Okay.
I guess phrase 7.
That's very good. Well, thank you for your time.
Sure.
And
Thank you for having us.
Yeah,
definitely.
and for sharing your thoughts and being part of season 1.
It's an honor and pleasure. Thank you. I got the mic. Finally, yeah.
Wish you all the best with your career.
Thank you,
And
you
I
too.
I hope to hear from you guys again in a live concert or
hopefully,
as
yeah.
a album.
Thank
All
you,
the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. you.